We are waiting to see if Governor Mark Dayton will get out of the hospital today. He was taken to Regents Hospital last night after fainting during an event in Woodbury. The governor's chief of staff says he is resting comfortably at Regents and has been joking with family and doctors. Chief of Staff Jamie Tincher says Dayton felt increased pressure in his lower back while speaking at a volunteer recognition event. She describes the venue as very crowded and hot. Governor Dayton fainted and was taken to Regents for further testing. The Democratic governor has had health troubles since taking office in 2011. He underwent back surgery in December. Dayton's office said at the time that the procedure was similar to one he had 3 years earlier. He also had hip surgery in 2014 to alleviate chronic pain. Officials with the World Health Organization are meeting in Switzerland today to discuss ways to combat the Zika virus. The virus has been linked to a rare birth defect in thousands of babies, mostly in South America. Officials are considering whether to declare the Zika virus a global emergency. Iowans head to the caucuses tonight in the first official presidential contest of 2016.
Even though the road to the White House begins in Iowa, history shows that since the 1970s, less than a third of Republicans and less than half of Democrats have gone on to win their party's nomination. For the Republicans, polls show Donald Trump has a slight lead with Ted Cruz in second. However, after a strong showing in the latest debate, Marco Rubio may have made some inroads with Iowa voters.
Polls are a lousy predictor of what happens on caucus night. Lots of margin of error, lots of softness in the polling. So it could. Rubio's doing what he's got to do, moving around, getting some buzz going.
On the Democratic side, the latest polls show that Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders are in a virtual dead heat.
WCCO chief political reporter Pat Kessler is in Iowa right now for tonight's caucuses, and he joins us live from Des Moines. Hi there, Pat. There has to be just a ton of excitement there as all those candidates are making their final push.
Yeah, it is a very big deal here today. As you see, it is a beautiful day. It's in the 40s here, but the snowstorm is going to hit here also. A lot of talk about that. It's not going to hit before the caucuses tonight. They expect some snow flurries, but people should be able to get out to the caucuses all right. For a lot of these candidates, guys, Iowa is in the rear view mirror. A lot of them have already moved on to New Hampshire. That's the next big contest. They've done everything they can here. Over the weekend, they swarmed Iowa all over the state, going to little towns, to big towns, trying to get out the vote. The most important thing now is not the polls. I agree, the polls don't mean anything. It's who you can get to the caucuses. So they're going to spend all day today figuring out how to get their supporters to the caucuses tonight. Well,
that's, I think, the big question. I mean, you mentioned that the polls, they don't mean a whole lot, but Donald Trump obviously have been talked about a ton this election.
Right.
That's the question. Do you think he has supporters in Iowa that will show up?
Yeah, there is a lot of excitement for Donald Trump. Just down the street here, we saw people just waiting outside Donald Trump's hotel because they want to go see him. So there's a lot of excitement surrounding him. But the big question is, what kind of organization is there on the ground? Does Trump have the people in all of the 1,600 precincts to actually show up and caucus for Donald Trump? What we hear is that Ted Cruz has a much stronger ground game, as they call it, a much stronger organization on the ground to get the folks out. But Trump clearly is the guy that a lot of people are looking to win Iowa. There's a lot of excitement around him. There's a new Quinnipiac poll out this morning which shows him actually widening his lead among voters over Ted Cruz. Marco Rubio coming up third there. That's going to be an interesting one to watch as well. But you're right, Donald Trump is clearly the exciting candidate around here, even though Cruz is very close.
Let's talk about the Democratic race, because you could argue that it could be a toss-up. It's so close. Clinton and Sanders, they've been going back and forth with the lead now. How important is a win for Hillary Clinton? Does she need to win Iowa?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because Hillary Clinton might face the same fate she did 8 years ago here in Iowa with Barack Obama. Does she have the organization on the ground? A lot of people say she does. But I think it's more important for Bernie Sanders to win. He has to win Iowa and then go on to New Hampshire, where he still is pretty strong. Because later on, Hillary Clinton is going to win a lot of these primaries down the road. But Bernie Sanders has got to win here today.
All right. Well, as you said, Pat, it is all about the turnout. So we're going to continue to follow this, and we'll check back with you again in our second half hour. Thanks.